I'm gonna be honest, I was pretty skeptical of Elden Ring when it was first announced. Not because I thought it would be a bad game, far from it. Everything in the teaser trailer got me hyped to hop back into another Soulsborne game. What gave me a knot in my stomach, though, was the fact that George R.R. Martin was attached to it. Don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic writer, but this is the same man who spent the better part of a decade missing deadlines for completing his book, The Winds of Winter. So I just kind of assumed we wouldn't see Elden Ring until 2030. Luckily for us, FromSoftware seemed to give him ample time to contribute to Elden Ring's massive success. Elden Ring, like many of its predecessors, has a reputation for being tough as nails. It's arguably the most accessible game in the Soulsborne series, but that doesn't mean controllers haven't been spiked into the ground in fits of rage because of it. Part of the game's challenge comes from the lack of training wheels on the story, combat, builds, item locations, leveling, etc. And depending on who you ask, that's either part of the charm or bad game design. I'll let you be the judge of that. Where Elden Ring really bears its teeth, though, is in the boss battles. These fights are designed to be the ultimate test of your skills, and a fantastic opportunity for you to die. A lot. Which means you'll have to continuously re-challenge these bosses after they've crushed you over and over and over and over again. However, none of these bosses are insurmountable foes, and the key to overcoming them doesn't lie solely in having the right build or perfect roll timing, but in your personal ability to be resilient in the face of difficult situations. Here's the cool part. The same resilience you need to be successful in Elden Ring can be applied to your own life too, to help you better manage the difficult situations life can throw your way. This is what I learned playing Elden Ring. For those of you unfamiliar with the concept of resilience, I'd like to introduce you to a 90s band by the name of Chumbawamba. Their song, Tub Thumping, was a rock anthem that made its way into just about every music mix of the 90s. Even if you don't know the song by name, you more than likely recognize its iconic chorus, which goes, "I get knocked down, but I get up again, you're never gonna keep me down." And as silly as the song is, it does a really good job of simplifying what resilience is at its core: the ability to bounce back from difficult situations. Being resilient is the key to succeeding in Elden Ring, because there are a lot of times where the game's gonna feel like it's out to get you, or just downright unfair. Cheap attacks, one-hit KOs, mobs of enemies, powerful magic, invaders, invisible walkways, poison swamps, status effects. The list of potential hardships you're going to experience is practically endless. When you do encounter these hardships, it's completely natural for you to feel anger, frustration, or even hopelessness. However, managing these emotions is critical for Elden Ring players, because if they're left unchecked, they will succumb to Elden Ring's overwhelming nature and quit playing. Forever. Which is an absolute shame, because if you are resilient enough to bounce back and keep trying, the elation you feel when you finally overcome an obstacle is indescribable. So why do some people bounce back playing Elden Ring while others throw in the towel? Well, the obvious answer is resilience. Many of the players who stop playing Elden Ring are resilient people. But what's interesting about resilience is that it's situational. Meaning, you may demonstrate a lot of resilience in one challenging situation, but might not demonstrate as much resilience in another. The beauty of resilience, though, is that it can be built. So there's actually some hope for those of you who want to dive back into Elden Ring. Let's turn to some folks who are way smarter than me, the American Psychological Association. In their definition of resilience, the APA talks about successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility. What that definition does is give us 3 areas to focus on when trying to build resilience, not only for Elden Ring, but life's challenges too: mental, emotional, and behavioral. Let's start with mental. The single biggest mistake you can make when approaching Elden Ring is going into it with the wrong mindset. Let's get this straight. You know what you're getting into if you play Elden Ring. Even if you haven't played any of the other Soulsborne games, you know Elden Ring is tough based on reputation alone. So if you go into it with a happy-go-lucky attitude, you won't be in the right mental state for when the Tree Sentinel introduces you to the sharp end of his halberd for the 5th time. However, if you approach Elden Ring with the right mindset, that you're going to struggle and fail multiple times, you'll be more resilient to those setbacks and should, ultimately, bounce back quicker, because you have set your expectations appropriately. Losing to a boss hurts a lot less when you know it's the most likely outcome. In Elden Ring's case, there are specific challenges you can mentally prepare for, like boss battles, but other unexpected challenges will test the limits of your overall mindset. For example, things may be going smoothly and you're starting to feel like you have a good handle on the game. Then, boom, out of nowhere, a spider hand drops off the wall and you're dead. Just like that. No muss, no fuss, just dead. Something like that can really test your resilience, because even though you came into it with the right mindset, the sudden, unexpected adversity can generate all sorts of emotions. And you can see the same thing in your own life too. Even if you approach life with the mindset that it will find ways to challenge you, it sometimes manages to surprise even the most mentally tough people with unexpected difficulties. Having the right mindset is a great start, but just because you have the right mindset doesn't mean you won't have an emotional response. This is where the emotional aspect of building resilience comes in. Like I mentioned in the intro, there's no doubt in my mind that Elden Ring has been responsible for many broken controllers, but my somewhat leading question is, was it really Elden Ring's fault? Or could those folks have managed their own emotions better? You are totally free to feel your emotions, but you're not always free from the consequences that come from unproductively managing them. Spiking a controller like you just scored a game-winning touchdown may feel good in the short term, but afterwards, you're just left with a $60 pile of scraps. When your emotions do start to bubble up, it's important to take a deep breath and calm your mind before making your next move. This brief pause will help you strengthen your resilience and prepare you for your next battle. Alternatively, you can also leverage a little extra emotional support from other people. In Elden Ring, sometimes that's just as simple as summoning another player or Spirit Ash. But that same support looks a little different in real life. There is a wealth of gamers who can empathize with whatever difficult situation you're experiencing in Elden Ring. Just be aware that some folks will tell you to get good instead of offering any actionable advice. But don't let that keep you from seeking out others, because being able to share your emotions and struggles with someone who's gone through a similar situation can help you process your own emotions quicker and ultimately make you more resilient. This brings us to the final element of building resilience: behavioral. There are many behaviors that will help you become more resilient. I'm going to share two of my favorites with you: spacing and communication. When I say spacing, I mean temporarily removing yourself from a difficult situation. That doesn't give you permission to avoid it, ignore it, or isolate yourself, but sometimes you just need to step away from a difficult situation to reframe your mindset and give yourself time to manage your emotions. I can't tell you how many times I've been struggling with an Elden Ring boss and thought to myself, I'm never gonna beat this. Sometimes the best course of action in that situation is to just turn off your game and give yourself some space by doing something completely unrelated. More times than not, you'll come back the next day refreshed and more resilient than ever. When it comes to difficult situations in your own life, it may be more challenging to create space for yourself. But do your best to find someone you can to help maintain your resilience and temporarily separate yourself from a difficult situation. People face all manner of difficult situations in life, which is why resilient people turn to communication. If you need to adjust your mindset, communicate it. If you need time to manage your emotions, communicate it. If you need some space to remove yourself from a situation, you guessed it, communicate it. Being able to communicate what you need and how you're feeling, combined with providing space for yourself in difficult situations, are the behavioral foundations for building your resilience. And you're going to need all the resilience you can if you intend to tackle Elden Ring. Think of resilience as a bank account. If you take the time to develop the mental, emotional, and behavioral components of resilience, your bank account will be overflowing with resilience. That way, when a difficult situation comes along that requires resilience, you'll have plenty to spare. Most importantly, resilience is built over time. Many Elden Ring players have been playing these games since Demon Souls, so don't compare your resilience to theirs. It has been honed and grown over an extended period of time. However, if you're willing to be intentional about building your resilience, I have no doubt that you'll be crowned the Elden Lord in no time. And that's it! Which Elden Ring boss required the most resilience from you? Also, put your best Elden Ring tips in the comments for those folks who want to pick the game back up after this video. If you liked what you saw today, I'd love for you to subscribe. See you later!